For the past 3 years, I've been heading out to shoot photography all over the Las Vegas area, and every single time I've packed a massive backpack full of heavy full-frame gear, like my current Sony A7V. I love my Sony setup. It's an absolute powerhouse, but frankly, I got tired of carrying a kit that weighs a ton just to go take some casual photos. Worse than the physical weight was the creative friction. Those big pro rigs are amazing for client work, but they don't exactly inspire me to grab a camera before I walk out the door for a normal day. It started to feel more like a chore. I realized I needed a true everyday camera, something lightweight that would bring some inspiration back into my photography journey. Now, like everyone else on the internet right now, I originally wanted the Fujifilm X100VI, but let's be real, those things are like $1,900 retail, and they're completely impossible to find in stock anywhere. And if you try to buy the older X100V used, the demand has driven up these prices so high that it doesn't even make sense, because that thing is also $1,800. So instead of playing that game, I bought this camera on a recommendation, a pocket-sized camera that developed its own massive cult following online. It's the Panasonic GX85. Right now, the body alone hovers around the $500 mark on the used market. Today, I'm up on Mount Charleston to see if this $500 camera can actually be the ultimate everyday camera, or if it just feels outdated. All right, we made it up the mountain, and right off the bat, the biggest win here is that I have this camera on a single point strap, and I barely even notice that it's there. It leaves me hands-free, it doesn't strain my neck, and it's completely frictionless. It naturally makes me want to have a camera with me again. But the real secret weapon of this system isn't just the camera body, it's the micro four thirds lens market. Because the sensor is smaller, the glass is incredibly compact and affordable. If you're getting into this ecosystem on a budget, you have some pretty great options. If you look around at your local marketplace, you can often scoop up some incredible bundle deals. Just the other day, I saw a local listing that included the GX85 body, 12 to 32mm kit lens, the 45 to 150mm telephoto, and a fast Laowa 17mm f1.8 prime, all bundled together for just $585. That's a complete multi-lens creative toolkit for a fraction of what a new full-frame lens is going to cost you. For this trip, I went with the premium prime route. I chose the Panasonic Leica 15mm f1.7, and that lens sits right around the $500 mark. On this sensor, it gives me a 30mm full-frame equivalent field of view, perfect for those wide landscapes and environmental shooting. Now, coming from a full-frame Sony background, there's an elephant in the room that we have to address: depth of field. Because of the sensor size, an f1.7 lens on this body gives you about half the background blur, or the bokeh, of an f1.7 on a full-frame camera. If you're obsessed with that super blurry, nice and smooth bokeh look, well, this might bother you. But for me, having a bit more in the background in focus actually gives these mountain shots environmental context. It feels more organic, more like classic film documentary photography. Sometimes when you're out in nature, the lighting can get tricky. These cliffs surrounding us all right now, they're reflecting the intense sun, while the shade of the pine trees is pitching everything into a deep shadow. This kind of high contrast scene is where older budget sensors really start to show their age. To be clear, it's hard to compare a camera body from 2016 to the newest full-frame bodies when it comes to raw capabilities. The new Sony A7V is just under $3,000, and it pulls 14 to 15 stops of dynamic range in a single shot. It retains highlights and shadow detail almost effortlessly. This GX85, however, tops out at around 10 to 11 stops of usable dynamic range. That 4-stop deficit means that if I expose for those dark trees, the bright limestone in the sky will be completely blown out into an unrecoverable white. The GX85 have a brilliant built-in workaround that completely levels the playing field, the bracketing feature.
With one click of the shutter, the camera instantly fires off 5 consecutive shots at different exposures. One for the highlights, one for the shadows, one for the midtones. When you blend those exposures later in post, you artificially expand that narrow 10-stop window, capturing a final photo with massive dynamic range. It's a classic photography technique that completely bypasses the limitations of older hardware, giving you a gorgeous balanced shot without needing a $3,000 body. Now let's be completely honest. A cult classic is still an old camera, and there are trade-offs. First, look at how I'm filming this vlog right now. I'm using a DJI Pocket 3 to talk to you. Why? Because the GX85 has absolutely 0 microphone jacks. You can't plug an external mic into this thing, so serious video requires an external audio workflow. Second, the autofocus uses Panasonic's older contrast detect system. For single photos, it's snappy and hits the mark. But if you're trying to track fast-moving action or film yourself walking, it may pulse and hunt a little bit compared to the flawless real-time tracking on the Sony cameras. But even with these flaws, this camera did exactly what I wanted it to do. For around $500, I got 5-axis in-body stabilization, sharp 4K video, tactical physical dials, and access to incredible Panasonic Leica glass. More importantly, it stripped away the friction of shooting. This video isn't about finding the camera with the absolute best spec sheet on earth. It's about finding a camera that you actually want to carry with you every single day. It took me out of the professional client workflow mindset and put me back into the pure joy of chasing light. It proves that you don't need to break the bank or spend $3,000 to find your creative spark again. You just need a camera that makes you actually want to pick it up and go shoot.